What's up and welcome back. I'm exhausted. Netflix has dropped 65. And of course, I'm going to review it. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuide.com. I'm a blind film critic, which means I review things with audio description. So click that subscribe button because I need visibility. I'm just going to be totally honest and say, I'm not even doing it for the money. I just need visibility. The only way I'm going to get audio description on more titles or better audio description is if people are listening. So the only way I do that is if I have a social media following. Click that subscribe button. So what do we got with 65? I don't know how to feel about this film, to be totally honest. It's like I've heard some other reviews. Obviously, I waited. There were people who saw it in theaters, so I watched their reviews. Some of them were really excited. They were like, oh, finally, it's dinosaurs and not in Jurassic Park. And, of course, my initial reaction to that is, I mean, we've made other films with dinosaurs before, like Dinosaur, Carnosaur, Theodore Rex. There have been some other movies with dinosaurs in them. So, and they really haven't been that great. So, not even all the Jurassic Park movies are that great. So, yeah, just because you see dinosaurs doesn't necessarily mean, yes, excitement. It's actually amazing how mid-budget to low-budget this is. I'm sure that they saved their little bit of money for the visual effects in a few scenes that they needed them. But mostly it's about an hour and a half, and there are not a lot of dinosaur scenes in this. There are a few, and they come, but there's a lot of just sort of surviving in an unfamiliar terrain. It feels a little bit like Monsters, the film that started Gareth Edwards' career. If you guys ever got to see Monsters, it feels like that, where yes, the film is about monsters, but you don't see them all the time. But the few scenes that they did, because that film was super low budget, yeah, the monsters look good, in a couple of scenes. So I think they saved their budget for the couple bursts of, because there's like no cast. I think there's 4 people in the entire thing. Seriously, I think there's 4 people. There are 4 people credited in the entire film. So it's very low, very small cast. It's Adam Driver plays Mills, because if there's one thing that says an alien race from 65 million years ago, it's naming the motherfucker Mills. That's what makes sense to me, is that naming an alien from another planet who speaks English Mills. I know he speaks English for our benefit because it's an American film, but dude's name was Kylo Ren. I know he chose that name, but he still chose a name. You know what I'm saying? Like in the Star Wars universe, he was Kylo Ren. Like we've encountered other sci-fi shows where people have weird names and they come from other planets and they don't immediately sound like they came off of Earth. And this dude's name is Mills. I'm just like, it's really hard for me to take this seriously. And of course, the girl with the foreign language that he can't understand that's with him that crash landed, she's like the only survivor. He was piloting a ship with lots of people who were in cryopods, and this girl survived. And his translator's broken, so she's in this. So this little girl has to do like a weird made up language the whole time. I don't even know what language she's speaking. She's probably just making sounds. Every once in a while, she says a word that he understands. It's so weird that they're like, she's like, family? And I'm like, you guys are aliens 65 million years ago. It's so weird that this is the sci-fi, is that somewhere else they developed humanoid people who look exactly like us, developed into with this technology and way of language. And I mean, they've got like video footage. They thought the same way. They developed their society the same way we did. And they did it when Earth had dinosaurs. And it's just like, I know it's all about the perception of time. And if billions and billions of years, and maybe somewhere else there used to be, and what happened to his civilization. But it's so weird to see it just mirrored to ours, and not really like an attempt at science fiction. It felt very lazy to me. A lot of the choices that they made in this film. I think he even has curry powder at some point. There's a scene where he's trying to draw something out for her, like stick figures, and I think he sprinkled curry powder. I think he like looked at it and it was red, and he's like, "Oh, curry," and he drops, and I'm like, "What is happening in this movie? What is happening in this movie?" And of course, he also happens to have crash landed on Earth, by the way, at the same time that the planet killer asteroid is about to hit Earth, because of course he would. Because of course that's how this would happen. It's So he spends this whole time communicating with this little girl, who doesn't seem to understand him, but every once in a while will pick up on a word, and she's like, "Family, family," and she's learned like one word. Like she draws like a mother and a father, and she's like, "Family," and suddenly that means to him that he can talk to her, and they can understand these complicated ways. So like he's like, there's like one moment where he needs her to like go throw a rope up, and he's like, "I need you to go up there and tie this around and secure it." And somehow she knows how to do that. Somehow she's like, "Yup, I followed that. I understood that entirely perfectly. I have mastered your language in this short period of time." This film requires you to take a lot of leaps of faith. Yes, and of course they have guns, because why wouldn't aliens have guns? Because why wouldn't they be exactly like us? These people. This is the other girl's name, by the way, is something at least sort of, but it just feels like they were doing the thing that we do when we have like foreigners from another country, and we're like, "I'm American, so my name is Steve, and you're from Africa, so your name is Nubagium," and you just like come up with some weird name that you think somebody might be named from like another country, and they're like, "Yeah, that's representational." She's from like the upper territories or something on his planet. I don't know. It's stupid and it's vague. So she has, I don't know, Kata or something, or I forget her name. It's not Mills, and I don't know. It's the whole thing is just, it's silly. There are a couple of dinosaur moments in here, a couple of dinosaur attacks, some interesting insects, prehistoric insects. There are some moments that I'm sure looked really cool to the visual audience. There's a moment where he stands inside of a giant footprint from like, a massive T-Rex or something, and the footprint is much larger than he is. So, yeah, there's some stuff, I guess, that conceptually could have been cool here. I like the fact that they make it sort of like this survival, like we need to get to the top of the mountain, and the dinosaurs just sort of happen to be there. But then we get kind of stupid with it. Like, literally, like, the planet is on fire because, like, other small meteors have started to hit. It's kind of, like, spoilery, but, like, the dinosaurs are still going after these tiny, like, these are like Skittles. They're like chasing Skittles. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry, but, like, most animals, when things are on fire around them, as we've seen in real life, they flee the fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have natural instincts to run away from things they don't think about, "Oh my God, I'm a predator, and this is my prey. Fuck these falling rocks from the sky and the fire being on forest. I'm gonna go after this dude." And I know it makes the movie more interesting, but it also kind of makes it stupid. I don't think they needed to be here for the planet killer asteroid. I think it would have been much more interesting if they had just left that out of the movie. I don't think it gains anything by them having to race against time to get off the planet before this thing hits. I think the fact that they don't have anything to survive with, and they want to get to their escape pod, I think that's enough. I don't think you needed this other thing, because the other thing makes it stupid. Because they're still being chased by predators, but the predators are having to make conscious choices where they're like, yeah, I realize the world around me is crumbling, but god damn it, I'm gonna get that Skittle. You know, I mean, these giant things are gonna get this little bit of food. You know, there are moments where they find these huge carcasses, right? They talk about an audio description. They're like, oh, these it's a massive dinosaur, huge carcass with the meat, with still some meat on the bone, and that's the kind of thing. Those are what they need to take down. That's what a giant predator is going to try to take down, is something that will actually feed it, not these tiny little things. It's not going to risk its entire life for this tiny meal, you know. Especially the little girl who's even smaller than Adam Driver. She's like 8 or 9 in this film. It's ridiculous, absolutely silly. And he keeps watching these videos from his, like, she's like vlogging or something back on her planet. I don't know. This is one of the dumbest films I've seen in a long time that should have been really good. There are parts in here that work really well, but there are parts in here that are just like, what? Why would we make these choices? Why did you make these choices? What's going on here? I don't think the performances are bad. I don't think there's necessarily... I think Adam Driver should have read the script, and maybe he wouldn't have found himself in this film. Maybe he was offered a lot of money. I don't know. Maybe this is a $10 million contract for him. He's the only one in it, so the film does rely totally on him, basically, to carry the film. I don't know who the girl is. I don't think it would have mattered. You would have had to go out and pick out, like, at least somebody who's popular at the moment, like Bella Ramsey or something, for this to matter. I didn't recognize the actress's name, and then I didn't bother to learn it for this, because her performance is she's almost nonverbal, because everything she says is not in English. She has like 1 or 2 words that she's learned, and she doesn't really communicate. So basically I have to learn who she is through audio description, so I can't really even grade her performance, because her performance is mostly through audio description and the ability to say things that don't sound like words. So, good job. Audio description wise, you know, last film I watched, I said it was great because everybody was like, oh my god, these, you know, it told you immediately what these people look like, what their race was. It didn't do that here. When he finds this little girl, he just finds a little girl. It could be any race. It's whatever race she is, whatever race you want her to be, apparently. She is, insert race here, insert skin color here, which is just really interesting because, again, they're fucking aliens. So I would be really specific about about their racial ethnicities. Do they have black people on this planet? Do they have Latino people on this planet? Do they have, you know what I'm saying? Like, do they have blue people? Is it something, do they have green people? Where, like, what are the other races on Adam Driver's planet? Like, I don't know. This is a sci-fi film. You can't just make me assume that the girl is white. Like, you can't just do that. I don't know who she is. She's not famous. This is not some massively famous actress. He didn't go rescue Julia Roberts to where we're all like, oh, okay, so it's Julia Roberts, so it must be a white woman. He rescued a white woman, and they just didn't put it in there. They were lazy. I don't know what this girl looks like. I've got no clue. So no, the audio description here it's weird, and it's Australian. And how do I know it's Australian? Because nobody would compare any fucking thing to a wallaby except an Australian narrator team. And I love it because I'm in this audio description group, and I know these Australian people, apparently they have less audio description than we do over here. And they're always like, oh, we don't know if any of our stuff ever gets used. Well, they used yours for 65 because I don't think anybody else would have compared something to the size of a wallaby. It's such a random comparison. They don't have wallabies in the UK. We don't have wallabies in America. We would not, do you know what I'm saying? It's not the animal that of choice that we would have made to compare the size of a certain dinosaur. It's not the first thought that we would have had when looking at a dinosaur and trying to give a size comparison, which is like the only time in the film they do that, by the way. Everything else is just big. They're just big dinosaurs. They're not like 10 times, 20 times, stands taller than trees. I missed out on a whole lot of how big each other dinosaur was. They barely have enough time to tell us that it's a different dinosaur. Some of them they don't even name as dinosaurs. Sometimes it's just a scary dinosaur. Sometimes it lets us know it's a T-Rex. Other times, they don't know what kind of dinosaur it is. So they're just like, oh, something. I don't know. It's got teeth. There's a dinosaur with teeth and it's coming at you. It's just, it's just, they didn't even get it in there. So, I don't know if this is Jurassic Park's representation of dinosaurs where they don't have feathers, or if they bothered to put feathers on the dinosaurs. I have no idea. There are lots of things. I have a lot of questions here. I hate ragging on audio narrators because I like them. I think the guy's voice is fine. I don't think this was good audio description, and I don't like the movie. So, yeah, it's like a twofer for me. I think the audio description could have been better. It's not awful. It has a lot of action sequences that it has to describe. It has a non-verbal character that it has to follow around. I'm basically considering her non-verbal because she doesn't speak anything, and it doesn't translate her because the whole idea is that we don't know what she's saying. We're like, from Adam Driver's perspective, we have no idea what this girl is saying. So, we only know when she has the one of two words that, family? That's it. That's all you get. She's Stitch, basically, in this film. But, so, I mean, it does a lot that it needs to, but it could have been a lot better with the description of the dinosaurs, especially considering we know what some of them are. It's weird to name check the T-Rex, to be like, a T-Rex comes in, and then, to have no idea what any of the dinosaurs are. You're like, I don't know, something. Why don't you call the people who made the film and be like, what are the other dinosaurs you used? Instead of just, or don't check the T-Rex, I learn a little bit about dinosaurs. I don't know what the solution here is to this, but we have to, there can't be, I mean, I know we made T-Rexes super cool with Jurassic Park because they chase the car down and it's an iconic scene. So everybody must know what a T-Rex looks like. There are other dinosaurs, we know what they look like. The Triceratops, for example, I mean, they're just, do something. Please, do better. Do better. This could have been better. The audio description could have been better, and the film could have been better. The film could have been better thought out. I don't know why Sam Raimi's producing this. I would have run from this. If somebody had offered this to me and been like, do you want to, I'd be like, no, not with that script. Get that away from me. What is this? Is this science fiction to you? What is this? Explain to me how this is science fiction. Explain to me the inventiveness of going 65 million years in the past to have somebody who looks exactly like us landing on the planet. Even with their daughter, making vlogs, so that he can pull them up and watch his daughter in these videos. It's it's so close to us. There didn't feel like there was we don't do that. They thought of something new, cryopods. We've used those before in films. There's nothing new here. There's nothing that's like, oh my God, this is an alien race and they came up with this really cool thing that they're doing that nobody else is doing. Or, yeah, okay, so they're just like us, except they do have blue people. It is kind of like Avatar. So, yeah, Adam Driver is white, but the girl's blue. It just doesn't have any of that. It didn't feel inventive at all. It just felt like somewhere out there's another Earth, and those people from Earth 1 came to Earth 2 at the exact time that Earth 2 was about to be dying. And then the film finishes out over the credits with an advancement of time, and then we see the cities being built, and it ends. Cool. I'm so glad we made this film. Unfortunately, I think this is hot garbage, and I have really nothing good to say about it. And I didn't even like the audio description. It's one of the worst films I've seen this year. I'm going to give 65 a D-. The best thing I can say about it is it's 90 minutes. So at least you don't spend that much time. But all of the good things that I see in the film, I just see them as being squandered. I see them as it's like seeing that somebody had all of the right building materials, but then they decided to build, like, put them in all the wrong places. I don't know if you've ever seen like a kid with like Legos and they're handed like this cool Lego set and then they go in there and they just kind of build like a square, you know? And you're like, why did you just put all the Legos into a square? I don't know, I just wanted to. I felt like I like squares. It's like, but this is a Star Wars set. This doesn't look anything like, why did you want a Star Wars set? I don't know, it's everything. It's just like, it doesn't feel like there was any thought or care put into this film. It just feels like somebody was like, ooh, Dinosaurs and Adam Brody. Adam Driver, that'll sell. Adam Brody would have sold less tickets, but Adam Driver, and I don't care. This film, I never cared in this film. So, it's a waste of time. Thank you for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you like this review and you like my channel, please subscribe. And I have a website, macthemovieguy.com. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at macthemovieguy. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know what is audio description and where you can watch it. And you can go to the ADNA.org. That's the ADNA.org. It'll let you know who's narrating your favorite film and television series. This is a don't watch. Do not watch this film. And don't waste your time. Although if you do waste your time, you're only wasting 90 minutes. So, there you go. I'll review something else and see you guys on the other side.